Hey guys, thanks for dropping by the channel. I truly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, super appreciate new viewers, and if you're a repeat viewer, I appreciate you guys too. In fact, anyone watching this, I truly appreciate it. And today what we're doing is we're kind of following up a video from a couple of days ago. Right now, scrolling across the green screen here is today's sneakers, which are 3 different colorways from Adidas on their campus line, tying it together with a collaboration from the Human Made brand company, the fashion brand company here in Japan especially. It's a big shoe because the owner of Human Made is a guy called Nigo, and he's big in the fashion industry here and actually all around the world. Ties it up with Pharrell Williams a lot. You've probably heard of Bape, that's his company too, a bathing ape in lukewarm water, so he's a big guy, big deal in the fashion industry. And then 2 days ago, I think, bang, this is what we did here. In fact, what I probably just did there is jumped up to the top of the green screen, because at the top, I think, or is it below, it's at the bottom, of that image that's been scrolling there, you've got the Stan Smiths that I talked about a couple of days ago. They were kind of interesting because of their design features, but the shoe and the colorways and things like that themselves were kind of a bit dull, and the changes between the 3 shoes weren't very dramatic, shall we say. But then if we pop back up high, bing, to the top of that image, you can see the 3 campus colorways that we'll be talking about today. And there's a very clear sort of definition between the 3 shoes in their colorway, whereas the branding was big on the Stan Smiths. It's more the coloring and the blocking, if you like, on the campuses that's big. So a bit of a difference between the 2 shoes, or the 2 lines there. But that being said, there are some interesting details on this shoe today that are well worth taking a look at, and well worth you knowing about it if you're thinking about getting this shoe when it drops in a few days' time. So without further ado, let's get talking about it and have a look today at the Adidas Campus Human Made. This is a Tokyo About 23 Sneaker channel. Tokyo About 23 Sneaker channel is Mainichi Absolute No Day, Mainichi Media Design, every single day from Tokyo, Japan. Like every single day, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today we're kind of in day 680 something of 580 something. I did that a couple of days ago as well, where I said 600 instead of 500. 580 odd consecutive days of YouTube content from me and my channel here in Tokyo, Japan. We're getting close to that 600 day mark, which is pretty cool. Not a single day missed, and I really am proud of that, and hopefully I'll be able to keep it going. 7 p.m. Japan time every single day. Check it out. Like I said yesterday, or no, it's 2 days ago, we talked about the Stan Smiths, and I'll put the thumbnail up because it's a similar thumbnail to this video as well. I kind of like to do this when you've got a collection of shoes where you get a bit from each shoe, and I think I'm right in saying in the Stan Smiths had the black in the middle, and then on the outside edges it's green on the heel, and the grey one on the tongue, the toe, but you can't really see any grey detailing on the toe because it's just white. And then if we flip to today's thumbnail, you can see it's a similar sort of feature, but then much more colour on these shoes. The Stan Smiths were a bit more sort of monochrome in that white and black base with the odd head of colour, whereas these guys are very colourful in grey, in green, and in light blue. And they also still have that branding on there, some interesting points that are well worth talking about, and we're going to do that right now. So first things first, I want to have a look at the shoes for what isn't there. There's 2 particular important things about what isn't there on these shoes, and then there's a couple of things that are important for what is there on them. So first things first, what isn't there? Let's, you know what I'll do is I'll scroll through the 3 different colorways so you can see it on all 3 of the shoes, and maybe, I don't know, about 4 seconds a clip, you'll see behind me here the 3 different colorways coming up, one after the other. And what I'm, you know, I haven't said it yet, but maybe you can work it out from looking. There's something missing on these guys here. Hopefully you're working it out as I scroll through them. And what it is, hopefully you got it right, 10 points if you did, is the tongue branding. There's nothing on the tongue of these guys. It's very plain. Looks like a suede tongue to me, but there's absolutely nothing on there at all, which is kind of a surprise, I suppose, in a way. You would normally get some branding up there. When we did the Stan Smiths a couple of days ago, that also had different branding on there, but it was just Adidas across the tongue, and Stan Smith's face was removed, which is one of the main kind of features of that shoe. But on these guys, nothing at all. All 3 colorways, all that branding that would normally appear up there on the tongue has been stripped away. And then the other place that I want to look in terms of that, and I'm going to try and show you somehow, and I'll do it with just one shoe. I don't need to scroll through all 3 colorways to do it. But I don't want to go to the 3-stripe branding yet, because there's something interesting on there, which is really cultural for Japan. But what I'm hopefully doing is showing you just the edge of the 3rd, or the most further back, the furthest back of the 3 three-stripe brands down the lateral side of the shoe. And usually what you'd see in Superstars and Campus and many other Adidas shoes, Gazelles, things like that, you'd normally see the name of the shoe running parallel to that third stripe on there, usually printed Campus, sometimes, most often, regularly in gold up the side of the shoe there, and that's been taken away as well. And I think the reason that's been taken away is because gears for futuristic teenagers. So let's slide forward and see where that says that on the three-stripe branding here. I'm chuckling a bit and I'll tell you why. Gears for on the first stripe, futuristic on the second stripe, teenagers on the third stripe. Now, I've got to walk a fine line here. I'm not disparaging the locals in Japan. It's just a fact that sometimes Japanese people find it difficult to master the English language. There's even websites out there, and one of my favourite ones is called English. So the L in English has been changed to an R in English, because there's just a ton of branding out here. Shop fronts, t-shirts, apparel, posters, tons of branding out here that just hasn't been checked by a native English speaker, and there are little things that aren't great in there. Now, I generally don't cuss at my channel, and I'm going to find a way not to do that right now, but one of my favourite ones I saw was I was sitting in a family restaurant. You know, it's just a booth and there's families all around, like Denny's, or one here is called Caesarea, and I think it was Caesarea I was actually in. It's more of an Italian vibe family restaurant, but a family restaurant, you know, sitting there, and I look across, and in the booth opposite me there's a guy there with a t-shirt on, and he's with his girl, you know, young couple, you know, enjoying like a Sunday afternoon meal or something like that, and his t-shirt said, "Last night a DJ your wife." And I'm sure he had no idea what it meant. I think he just thought, oh, that's cool, DJ, you know, I know that word, I'll wear that shirt. And I'm like, I really wanted to say something to him, but it's like that a lot here with the English language, and it's not, I'm not being rude, I'm not sort of picking on the people of Japan for the lack of, you know, weakness with English. It's just a fact, it just is, and English is like I said, a thing out here, and I think that's what this is, this gears for futuristic teenagers. First things first, let's take the word gears. I don't think that's meant to be gears. In English, gears in this case would mean like the gears on a car, or the gears on a machine, the gears on a bicycle, or something like that, because they're countable, one gear, two gears. But I think it's meant to be gear as in your like clothing, your apparel, the gear that you take skateboarding with you or something like that. I think it's meant to be that gear, which is non-countable and never has an S on it. So I think it's supposed to say gear for futuristic teenagers, not gears for futuristic teenagers. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong in that, but it just, you know, gears, like as in the gears on a bicycle for futuristic teenagers, doesn't really make much sense to me. Now, if I'm wrong in that, and that somebody did, you know, mean to write gears instead of gear, I'd love to know in the comments down below, so feel free to hit me up down below and tell me all about that. Okay, so that's us dealt with we dealt with the two places where there's something missing, the tongues, and then beside that third stripe there, and then of course it was easy to go to the forward three stripes and see that special piece of branding on there, and I looked as close as I can. I think it's just printed onto the three stripes there. I don't think it's actually embedded into the three stripes. The reason I look closely at that is because I'll bring up one of the Stan Smiths so you can see the Human Made branding right there on the midfoot of that shoe, and you can see hopefully that it's actually embedded into the shoe and into the leather of the shoe. So I was kind of expecting to see that on the three stripe branding of these guys, and but instead it appears like it's just printed on there and not embedded in there. And the same can be said for the branding that's on the heel. So let's bring up one of the heels where you can see that heart with the three sort of speed stripes coming out the back of it, which represents the Human Made line. And I think I'm right in saying in the heart as well actually has the words Human Made in white. And a couple of important details on there on the heel. One is that that branding there isn't embedded again. Just like I said, bring it back to those Stan Smiths and you can see the the lateral side midfoot branding is embedded back to these heels, and you can see that it isn't embedded at all in there. So I was kind of expecting that to be somewhere on these guys, but instead it's just sort of printed on there. And the other feature that's interesting about these is that the heel branding tab, you know, that section where the branding is with that sort of bump that kind of comes down low, very standard in Adidas shoes, is the normal shape of a Campus heel branding tab. The reason that's important is because, again, if we come back to the Stan Smiths from a few days ago, is they actually shrunk it down and made it a very sort of flat kind of rectangular piece of branding on the back there, and then back to today's ones, and you can see that little bump down there, which is kind of atypical of Adidas branding on the back of their shoes, and especially on campus. So so the structure and the physicality of that branding on the back of the heel hasn't changed, but the actual detail in there that normally say Adidas, a tray full of brands, something like that, is all gone and been replaced with that human made heart and the 3 stripes in red on a white background. So and that's really the main features of the shoes. The 2 things that are missing, and then the sort of branding down the side, and then a couple of details about that heel tab on the back. So we might as well come back to the thumbnail and look at the 3 different colorways that these guys are coming in. Like I said, it's grey, green and light blue, and they're really clean looking shoes, especially with that sort of suede feel to the upper. They look like they're going to be really, you know, the high kind of premium materials, and again that tie up to Nigo. Anything Nigo in Japan is kind of big. Bape, Pharrell Williams tie-ups, Human Made, Billionaire Boys Club. There's a bunch of different sort of brands out there that Nigo is either responsible for starting or continues to be the main creative influence on them, so they're big in Japan. And these shoes are probably going to do pretty well here, especially. There's another set that I won't do for the channel. 2 days ago it was with Stan Smith, today it's the Campus, and there's another set there as well that I'm just not all that interested in. I don't know what, I can't even remember what, you know, Adidas line it is. It's definitely not Superstar, for example. But they just didn't appeal to me, so I won't be going to that 3rd set. Maybe I'll be able to find a picture of one of them and you'll know what I'm talking about. But really that's, you know, the 2 sets I wanted to look at was 2 days ago the Stan Smith and then today the Campus. So done that, happy to bring you this video. It's Saturday night and it's just turned 11 o'clock, so I'll probably spend about an hour kind of editing this thing together. And just like I said the other day, I'll probably get to bed by about 12 o'clock, which is actually early for me. So for now, it's time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content, but I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.